Вярвах аз, че вечно ще живее. Най-хубавите ми години отне и после си замина, ала нощем те търся. Като птица съм свободна, но на воля не отлитам. От години свикнала съм да обичам само тебе. Като птица съм свободна, но на воля не отлитам.
Greetings, Uncle Travelling Matt here, and this is the end of our third day on our Balkans 2022 trip. Probably you could say it was a bit more of a successful day than yesterday, because yesterday was a complete and utter disaster, but it's still been a bit of a difficult day. The main thing that we did today was travel from Podgorica to Novi Pazar, so we're now in a different country. We're not in Montenegro anymore, we're in Serbia, and it was one hell of a journey, to be honest. We were meant to catch the bus at 9:45 in the morning. We got down to the bus station on time. We had a nice breakfast of burek, which is these kind of Balkan pastries that I got really into them in Bulgaria. They're slightly different here, but generally the same. And got there on time, and the bus wasn't there. The bus eventually came about kind of 3/4 of an hour late. And then it got later, so it was we travelled all the way across Montenegro. I slept through a lot of it, I'll be honest with you, but the bits that we did see is, at first the road was very good. It was a brand new highway, and it was literally in and out of tunnels and with bridges in between. I mean, it was an excellent highway, and we were making good time, but then that highway finished and we went on to the old road, and things slowed down considerably. And then the border with Serbia, there was just this monster queue there, and we were just waiting for ages. We eventually got through, and about 40 kilometers into Serbia, we're in Novi Pazar. Novi Pazar, it means new market, and it's a town that I've really wanted to see for many years. And I first heard about it back in about 2008, something like that, when I was teaching at HMP Dovegate, and I had a student who came from Novi Pazar, and he was an interesting chap because he was Serbian, and of course Serbians are generally Orthodox, and they're pretty anti-Muslim, I think we could say, but he was a Muslim, and he was telling me about this town he came from, this part of Serbia called the Sanjak, which is a majority Muslim part of Serbia, and they're basically Bosniaks, so the same kind of people you get in Bosnia that live there, and they've got this enclave within Serbia. So although they're very near Kosovo, which is Muslim, the Kosovans are Albanians, and these are actually Bosnians who settled there. And so we're in this town that is majority Muslim, but it's in Serbia, which is kind of not what you would expect. It's a really nice little city, to be honest. We got off the bus, so we arrived in. We should have arrived in at 2:30. We didn't get in till 4:00, and then we were really hungry, so we ate something. We were meant to have had an Airbnb that I booked, but having no end of trouble getting accommodation there. So the first one that I booked, they just said, no, we're not doing it. The apartment's under renovation. So then I got another Airbnb, but the guy, he never got back to us. And so, we went to the property, couldn't get in, was trying to contact him, no reply. So I had to go into a cafe and book a booking.com apartment, which is what we're in now. I have to say, it's really, really good. We've got this whole apartment to ourselves with 2 bedrooms. It's really nice. The guy who runs it is a really friendly guy. We paid, I think it's about 50 quid for 2 nights for 2 people, which I think is pretty reasonable. It is quite cheap here. It's cheaper than Montenegro. I mean, we've just been for a meal, and we had 2 mains and a bit of a salad and a drink to each, not alcohol, but that came to €10. So I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. So anyway, we got this apartment. The guy's really friendly. He sorted us out a car for tomorrow so we can have a look around. But then we had a wander around the town, and it's not like a museum town. It's not incredibly pretty, but it is a pretty town. We went to a very nice Ottoman mosque. It was a very small one, but the prayers were on. So we sat outside whilst the prayers were on, and then went into the mosque afterward to have a look inside. Not the best I've been because it's so small, but it was still interesting. And it's the first time I think Tom's witnessed Muslim prayers in a mosque. So that was interesting. And then we just wandered around the streets, and of course they have this tradition in the Balkans. I don't know what the Serbian name is, but the Albanians call it the Giro, where people just walk. They put on their nice clothes and they walk through the streets at night, and they meet people, and you'll see like friends walking together, and then they'll stop for coffee and that. And I just think it's the loveliest tradition, and everybody was doing it here. I mean, it is. I don't know what percentage of the population is Christian and what is Muslim. It's certainly majority Muslim. I would guess it's about 80-20 in favour of the Muslims. But in terms of people who are religiously dressed, I think you maybe 10% at most. So most of the population are completely indistinguishable from the rest of the Balkans. But it is a bit strange nonetheless, seeing a very religious, indigenous Muslim population, not an immigrant one like you would get in Britain. And seeing them like kind of side by side, so you'll get girls like wearing really tight jeans and skimpy tops with a friend who's got like a headscarf on and all that kind of stuff and the full gear, and it's they may even be sisters or growing up together, and it's quite strange to see, but that's kind of why I came here, because it's a bit of an interesting town. It's something a bit different. There's an old Ottoman Han in the centre. It's not the best one. It's not like a courtyard one like some of the others. And there's an old town we went up. There's a bit of a fortress. We had a look around there with some of the narrow streets. And there's this river that runs through it, and this park where people were chilling out. There was a bit of a fun fair and that. It was just a nice, relaxed, friendly place. And so that's that. So Novi Pazar's nice, but the journey was the journey from hell. And I'm going to be honest, I'm really tired, and I'm not feeling the greatest. My legs really ache, and I think I had a cold anyway, and the lack of sleep several nights, the whole horrendous journey getting here, and then all day on the bus just hasn't really done me a lot of good. So I'm probably going to have a bit of an early night tonight. The other bit of good news is that we watched England win the European Championships for the ladies football on the telly, and they beat Germany, which is like Germany always win it. So to actually beat them in a final, I don't think they've been beaten before, and of course England haven't won it before. So that was quite pleasant. And particularly after last year where the men lost the final on penalties, that was quite nice. So yeah, so a bit of a more successful day, apart from the Airbnb catastrophe and another horrendously long and late journey. But we're not going to have that tomorrow, because all we're going to do tomorrow is hire a car and go around. There's some monasteries nearby that should be really interesting, and then wander around the town a bit more. So it's a bit of a quieter day. But then after that, we have got another big schlep on the bus to Belgrade, which is the Serbian capital. So that's that. Yeah, it's Uncle Travelling Matt signing out. Keep travelling.